Good evening, everyone. Oh gosh, the chat is gone. Let's get the chat back on here. Otherwise, everything's going to be messed up. First things first, the chat, then the lights. Get this in the right position. Move you to the bottom. I'm not beginning to learn how to do all this stuff. Control. Alright, let me get all set up here. I just stole the computer from me son. Woo, you're blinded. Blinded by the light. Huh. That tripod didn't do well at all. Let's see if it does well now. Excuse the plumber shot. Whew. 5 people already. Holy smokes. Kind of make me feel like you guys were waiting. You know, it's been one of those days. And this is amazing, really, because I went to the Sylvan Scale Models 25th anniversary show or event at Claire Gilbert's manufacturing facility there. I got some photographs. I'm going to make a video. I think Claire's going to do an interview with me, and he's a great guy, so I'm not going to show all that stuff beforehand. Patrick, very nice to meet you. I met Fred Thompson, David Goodhead. There's so many people there. It was just it was an amazing thing. Now, I want you guys to watch to make sure that I'm not getting all choppy. I've taken off some things, some of the alerts. I have a feeling that the alerts were causing some troubles. I was just adding too much stuff to the mix. So if you're a subscriber, or if you subscribe to the Just Another Scale Modeler channel, that's probably going to come up. Hello, Mr. CV. I know I got your name on Facebook, but it's been a long day. And I've been burnt. I got burnt cutting the grass, and you know when you're cutting the grass, if you don't got no tunes to listen to, you're sitting out in the country, you don't get pulled over for drinking and driving on your front lawn. Carrying control of a motor vehicle out in the country doesn't happen. Otherwise, my sippy cup's pretty much nondescript, so they'd have to get pretty far into the mix to actually find out what's in that cup. But, so hello, Billy. You saw the plumber? You came on too early. I don't know you didn't come on too early. You just... Come on now with your trolling. You're trolling me. So, hello, CB. Patrick Rivard. Not yet, Patrick. It was very nice meeting you today, Patrick. I'm not going to show that little thumbs up shot we did. It's going to be a part of Claire Gilbert's interview, which I hope you like. Joel's on. Andy's on. Andy, I sent you a message. I really hope you take it seriously. It'd be real fun. And there's no hidden agenda. I'm an open book. Andy, you know darn well I'm an open book. So, today, I kind of want to test out OBS to make sure that we don't have any high... I know it seems like I'm avoiding Hangouts. I'm not avoiding hangouts. It's just I want to make sure this OBS thing works, and I'm a little bit like I said, I was cutting the grass with my sippy cup, and controlling a whole hangout just doesn't seem like in the cards for me right now. So I painted up. You know, I talked about this yesterday, and I might as well talk about it just a wee bit today, just to get it out of the way. Yesterday we did a bit of a live stream, and man, that camera's looking good and clear. So yeah, today's we're gonna do some roofing. I've got a number of different kinds of roofing materials here that came in this kit. Carolina Craftsman kits. This kit is called Doc. Pretty handy that I got this paper right behind me. You know why it's there? So I can get to the right page and tell you that it is called Water Street Docks. It's a good thing I grabbed the paper, otherwise I would have been ass backwards. But, and I painted some black shingles. Okay, just got to make sure everything's around before we get to this controversial glue issue. You want to see what Eileen's tacky glue looks like? This is Eileen's tacky glue. Let's put it over top of a black piece of paper so you can see it. And this is the thinnest you could get it down here, and it is still opaque. Won't work for Windows. I got another bottle of glue, which is a little bit harder. It's harder. It is the cheap stuff from a Canadian Tire. It's basically their no-name brand, and I'm sure it's so. We got that stuff, and it's cheap. It's about $6 for a great big bottle of it. But again, I'm gonna have to get the bottle out so you guys can see what it actually is. However, when we get to the star of the show, how's that for clear? You know what, Billy? Yeah. I think it was Eileen's tacky glue that broke on that kit, but even if it wasn't, it is, look at that. Just amazing. And then last week we glued this the microscope slides to this window over here. I'll try to get it in a few ways, put my fingers behind it so you can see it. And that looks nice. And it was glued on with Weld Bond Scenic glue with the Scenic mixture. But then I went around a few days later and did a live stream, and we made glue windows out of Weld Bond with these great big windows. I said the other day it'd be kind of hard to do it. So what we've got here is Weld Bond glue windows right there, and look how good those look. You can see right through them. It's a really remarkable finish. And Billy, I think it was Bill, who came up with a couple of stores where Weld Bond is available in the United States. I think he said Ace Hardware stores. You're going to come up in the chat and tell us, aren't you, Bill? Oh, please tell us. My assistant in general. But as you can see, it worked flawlessly. And I'm going to go and do something I don't usually do. I'm going to go up. Let's show you the camera. We're going to move the camera. And I'm going to go up there above the closet. And that's where, like, I hold all my kits and dioramas up there, and it's dusty as hell. I'll get out, and I'm going to pull down a kit that I put the glue windows in, in like 2008. It was my first Craftsman kit ever. Well, I wish you could see what I'm doing. I'm climbing over shit like a darn monkey. Woo! I should have left the camera turned so you could see that. So, this here is a fine scale miniatures kit from 2007, like I said, and I haven't touched it at all. I didn't prep for this or nothing. I noticed that a window fell off. Somebody screwed up there. Must have been me. But let's try to get this up close to the camera as possible. And look at those windows. Look at those glue windows. Look at the amount of dust that's on top of that bugger. I'll pull some down so you can see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can't tell me that's not dusty. I'm pulling it off. And look at those windows. As clear as day. 10 years ago, these windows, and they've been sitting up on a rafter like crazy. I don't know what to say. We're still going to find a suitable replacement for weld bond glue, but the thing is we're going to be holding every glue that we try to a very high standard, because that's, if I'm going to credit a glue, I'm going to say blah, 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 blah about glue, it better be good. So I'm not going to monkey around getting that back there. I'll do it tomorrow. Let's find out what you're saying in chat. Okay. Oh my goodness, we got Mo's and Mo's. 13 people must have been waiting around. This is pretty cool. Whew. I gotta say that I went to Sylvan Scale Models today, and I was seriously humbled by the comments from few people and the few people I met. One of the guys, he's like a local. He's the guy at the all the train shows who sells all the tools and stuff like that. And it came out near the end of the conversation. He said, "I found out about this thing because of you." And I'm like, "What? Oh my goodness." He's a part of my newsletter. So it's really humbling today. And if you are watching this today or after the fact, I really appreciate your comments. I left early because, you know what? I got so nervous. Like, you know what? If you talk crap to me, I blow up like a bimbo and I get angry and all that jazz. But if you say nice things to me, I actually get scared and nervous. And that's why I left early. I was getting to the point where I was like, oh my god, my head's gonna explode. So thank you, everybody. No, you're not a troll under the bridge, Joel, and I've seen that wind wagon, and you're doing a great job on it so far. I'd like to see it. We got to see it in the advanced stages. You're always watching me on the YouTube. Maybe you got to take that advice that Mr. Rivard was telling me. Too much YouTube time. You got to get down. Use that inspiration you get from watching YouTube or what have you, and put it to the table. Well, I'm gonna get to this roofing real quick, but just a few things that I got to get through. I hope everybody watched the Hank Cheng interview. I was just trying to remember his Chinese name, but I gotta look at it on paper first before I can even try to say it. So I'm not gonna butcher it. But it was a real honor, and I've got 3 interviews this week to do, so we're probably going to be getting interview after interview weekly for a while. Maybe not this week. Maybe starting next week. But I really think you guys are going to be blown away by the talent that have accepted the invitation to talk with me, which is also very humbling, I got to tell you. It's an awesome deal. So, yes. Yeah, I'm tarred and feathered. Yeah, that's how I started in this hobby. Tarred and feathered. See, I'm slurring my words. Just kidding. Hello, Mr. Brights. Am I saying your last name correctly? I hope so. If not, give us a fanatical typing. Oh, there we go. So Ace, Do It Best, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, True Value, Delphi, D&L Art Glass Supply, Ed Hoy's International, Amazon.com, and HomeDepot.com all have weld bond glue, but that's a regional thing. I'm sure some places don't have it. I'm sure it's so popular with the people in the know at the stores nearby. They buy that stuff up. I'm sure they got that on speed dial. I know I'm gonna call Canadian Tire and give them crap because the big 1-gallon jugs are not there anymore, and I have to get one of these every month or two. And that brings me to Patreon. Thank you very much to everybody. Patrick Rivard, I got rid of the ticker because I think it was screwing up our system. I think your contribution was lagging us. It's a double-edged sword, my friend, a double-edged sword. So let's get down and finish with these chat stuffs. I have used cork-style material for roofing, but have not been able to find any more. It was in a laser kit that I built. Cork-style material, that's interesting. I've never seen a cork-style before. I've got a Cricut cutter die cutter, which I imagine will work for cutting shingles. This is kind of a thin paper. I just painted it black, and we got a few things to do to this. Let's get the camera front and center here. So I want to thank everybody who's a patron, who's watching. There's a lot of patrons who don't watch these live streams. I want to thank them anyways. If you are interested in contributing to the cause, all the information's below in the description. Let me get to the bottom here. Yeah. Yeah, why not build while watching, Ron? That's a very insightful point. For sure. Yes, as long as I get the name right, it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so these paper cards, these are the raw paper colors here, as you can see. It's a little tanny gray color, except I like to get some paint on it so that it really doesn't get streaky or blotchy. When you add a liquid to paper, it kind of spreads out on you. It likes to soak out. So when you put paint on the paper, you kind of seal it in a way that allows you to not get that little blotchy look. And when I'm making my paper, let's get prepped a little bit better here. Get my my painting plastic, because my wife, every time she comes and sees the desk that I bought the desk, she always wanted it for her kitchen table, but you know, it's too formal. It's got 2 bookcases on each side and whatever. I use it for modeling. I love it. It's perfect for this desk. We should send her emails thanking her for her service. So this is a trick that I learned from Trolls Kirk, a landscape artist from Denmark. I think he's living in Sweden, or maybe I got that backwards. I think he's Swedish, living in Denmark. I had talked to him a bunch way back when, maybe 2008, 2009. Did a lot of talking with Trolls, and we discussed, you know, I talk about mosaic coloring, stuff that really doesn't, it doesn't have a solid look to it. You're adding texture by doing weird things to it. And you know what? I'm a weird kind of guy. So we're going to take... Let's take a couple of paints right out of the blue here. Now these are stains. These are Dr. Ben's stains. This is aged driftwood. And this is Depot Buff, which is... One's like a concrete color. One's like a yellow color. And these things are just way too old, and I shouldn't be using them at all. I'll tell you that much right now. If I'm gonna shake the bottle, I should have the cap on. This is a pro tip. That's a pro tip. Make sure the cap's on before you start shaking it. So, all right, on New Haven. I believe your name's Ron. Tell me if I'm right. Your mother must have been a genius with that one. So we're going to shake these up, and what we're going to do with these colors is we're going to add our own mosaic. And the thing is you might think to yourself, well, Ron, why are you doing this? Because it's going to look pretty janky when you put it on. Not true. Not true at all. So I'm just going to put my brush in the paint. I'm going to take off the rest, and I'm going to streak it. Oh, this is not working at all. I need to do a light gray, I think. Let's find some light gray. I thought it was going to be the perfect color. You guys got to expect I'm going to fail first try. I really want to thank the patrons, because I bought a shelving unit to put all my stuff on. And I know it would be nifty to have this shelving unit right there, but I don't have it right there. It's over there beside the toolbox. And so I'm going to use this grayer color. This is a Martha Stewart. Don't judge me. I'm on a roll. So I'm going to streak this. And what I want to do is I want to do random streaks all over the place. I want to make a mess of it. And the reason for this is when you put these shingles down, you don't put them down nice and uniform like this. You put them down staggered. So after you get all your shingles onto the structure, these lines that we're putting on, they don't look standard at all. They don't look like streaks. They look like shingles that are put... I wish I could really show an example right off the... You know, if I was prepared for this, I would have had an example. We need to make sure we get it. Keep on keeping on. Okay, Ordered my weld bond glue. Can on Amazon. Billy's going to town with all the tips on where to get the weld bond glue. We should give him a thumbs up. All right. You know what? You put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, 50-50 with water and a little bit of glycerin in those paint jars there, Joel. Some of them might actually come back to life. And I just said actually, just like Looney Tunes. So we're going to put streaks on here. And after the fact, I'm going to come back with a little bit of Depot Buff, whether it works or not, because I pulled it out. And we got to make sure it works. And what I want to do here, I could even put a little bit of green on here to simulate moss growth. If you are in a wet atmosphere, I could put a little bit of green on, but it's a little bit too ballsy, too quick. So I'm going to put these two pieces aside. And you know what? I even do a little bit of streaking on my black shingles, but I'll use a real charcoal gray. It's some kind of black that will complement the black. A dark gray that will just add a little bit of a tone to it, so that when you stagger your shingles, it really just blends in. You know, and then when you come back and you streak it after the fact, it's like a multi-layered weathering effect. And that's usually the best way to do everything, is multi-layered. You don't go for the gusto. You know, when you're going, it's like I like to say, it's like your first date. You know what? You got to move in slow. Just got to slide in there like a thing. And you go slow. You got to multi-layer this thing. You got to make sure this is a win. So we're going to take our Depot Buff and we're going to try to win at this. So I got Depot Buff. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding my mosaic to it. We're going to add a little bit of color here, a little bit of color there. And slowly what starts happening here is... Oh, you know, I just realized I didn't tell you what color I painted the shingles initially. It was a camouflage tan color. So you may look like it's all screwed up, but I watched Trolls Kirk's painting DVD, and then we talked about it for a while. We're gonna do an interview. It's probably gonna be one of my first interviews. Back in 2010 was with Trolls Kirk, but you know, I'm pretty ballsy right up into the point where I think I'm gonna be a success, and then I get really nervous, and that's what happens. Like I've been supposed to be interviewing Gary Christensen, and to tell you the truth, the guy scares the shit out of me because. Are we still doing PG-13 shows? I don't know. I asked the crowd. Please put it in the chat. Should we be doing PG-13 or can I go a little bit? I haven't had a drink. I don't know. So I get a little bit scared when things start working. And that's why I kind of am asking for your help, Andy, in doing this website. The old message. Check it out. I sent it on Facebook and Google Plus. So, you know, I kind of try to get, I don't know, well, let's just leave that where it was. I was getting too sappy. So I don't know which kit we're going to do this on just yet, but we need to prep the roof before we do so. Let's get some dark gray. I like this paint. I like the color of this paint, but I don't like the way they name these colors. This one's called medium gray. You tell me if that's medium gray or not. I don't know what dark gray would look like, but... So, I'm going to get a nice tighter brush. I really don't have anything here to help me. I don't really have... So we're going to take it... This one's a pretty secure brush. Well, something that I can paint the undersides of my roofing. There's a nice one. If you wonder how I clean my brushes, I don't put my brushes in plain water. I put my brushes in isopropyl alcohol mixed with water. You know, that really destroys the paint inside the brush. And if you've got some paints that have a lot of paint stuck up in the top, like this one, you just leave it in that alcohol and start wiping it on your hands. It'll crumble up and fall all apart. Because this isopropyl alcohol, it does stuff to acrylic paint. And it's kind of like the wonder drug for acrylic paint. So what building are we going to do this on? I think this one's going to get the metal roofing. Let's look at the piece of paper, see what... Excuse me. So on this, they say that this structure and this structure gets the shingling. So let's do that. I don't want to jump too far off the edge. We're going to put some rolled black paper, rolled roofing on the back here because it's a lean-to. But on this main structure, let's get this off to the side. Let's get this sitting over here where it needs to be. We got paint sitting over. Okay, Bob. So we want to paint the undersides of the eaves here. All the roofing underneath here. And I'm going to paint it a gray because you don't really want to look at it. And if something's dark, it's going to disappear. And mainly what I'm doing is I'm mainly getting up and painting this edge. But while I'm doing so, I'm painting this underside. The main focus, though, is to paint the edge so that you can't see the cardboard after you put your roofing on. And I'll probably go around the outside like that. After the fact, we are going to put trim on the roof, soffit trim, if you're a carpenter type. But, you know, so let's just get this started. I think I'm going to end up doing the under detail with this brush, but we'll do the majority with the big brush. So we're just going to get over here. And as you can see, this gray is not dark. It's not going to stand out too much. But what it's doing is it's covering the edges so that we don't have any khaki color coming through. I think that's the color. I had that Taiwanese gentleman, Hank Cheng, used a khaki colored cardboard as one of his answers, and I kind of like that. I think he's right. So I'm getting taught how to speak English from a person who doesn't even speak English. So that's pretty cool. That's a fun fact. So there we go. We just got our paint on the top. Then we're going to turn around. I'm sorry if I don't get this on camera properly. If I had eyes in the side of my head. Actually, one of these days when we get all professional, we'll have 2 cameras maybe. Maybe we'll have one of you guys out there in the crowd switching cameras on us. So we've got our main top. I'm going to throw this brush in the alcohol. Then I'm going to take my small brush. You can see it's just a small brush. And this is where I get quiet because I don't have good eyes. I really don't. So I don't want to get it on the walls. I try to get this on camera, but you'll forgive me. won't you? I hope you forgive me. Just bought some green grime from AK Interactive. You know what? I haven't tried AK Interactive there, Ron. However, I noticed that Kathy Millett has been doing some promotions for them. I don't know if she's getting paid by them or not, but if she is, all the power to her. That's the way. You know, if you're going to make videos every week, you might as well get your costs down as far as possible. I had a promotion back in 2009 with MIG paints, and I think that MIG is pretty much probably exactly the same as AK Interactive. And their products are unbelievable at what you can do. They're kind of like an acrylic paint mixed with a linseed oil in their washes. And then they just got a number of great products. They got pigmented powders and stuff like that are just made. They're made for the military guys, and those military guys are pro. So you might think that this is a step that isn't necessary. Maybe put it on the applicator. You just squeeze them off, put it on the applicator. That's okay. Your finger is an applicator. You should have faith in that. Your finger is definitely an applicator. So these, the AK Interactives, I'm gonna have to try them. I'm gonna buy some now that I got a supply fund. I know that their initial purchase is actually fairly. It costs a lot to buy them. Well, at least when I went to go and replace my MIG washes a few years ago, they were fairly pricey. And considering that I was gonna buy them from the States, the exchange rate made it impossible. Really. Wasn't really worth it. Right on, Joelle. Thanks for the feedback on the clear video. It's good to know. We'll probably be back to doing hangouts next week. I figured it'd just be good to try and, I'm gonna probably put back some of the alerts that were put down, like the Patrick Rivard chipped in 50 Canadian dollars and it turned out to be 37 going across the bottom. That's the story of our lives, I'll tell you that right now. Isn't that right, Patrick? So now that we got our roof painted, I'm not going to paint this eave on this side or the eave on this. Well, maybe I'll do this one because it's just big. I just looked at it and it's pretty big, so we'll do that one. But if it's not too, if it's small, it's gonna get covered by my fascia boards anyways. And I'm just being a little anal by doing that. So there we go. Paint is down, Jack. Now we get to the star of the show. We're gonna pull out our shear scissors. Cut these out. Now you can cut these with your Cricut cutter, your die cutters. You can buy these from your laser cutter guys, KC Workshops or Carolina Craftsman Kits. I know a bunch of manufacturers will sell these by themselves. If you're looking for like a scratch builder's supply, contact your laser cutting guys, because you know what, they really struggle to put out nice kits for cheap. And when it comes down to it, sometimes they're a mathy type of person. They're into design and stuff like that. You know, they have to maybe shell out some cash to get somebody to do their. Well, look at that. We've got those little tabs up the middle there. Well, that little pain in the ass, isn't it? Okay. So they might farm out their instructions and have to pay somebody to do that, and you know, contact them if you need some shingles. I'll bet you these guys will hook you up. I'm just getting in here and cutting these tabs off so I can get them out of the sheet. They're really wide enough so that I could probably cut these in half, but I like to have them full length because when you cut them off on the end, it's an odd size, and you know, it's nice to be able to make them go as far as possible. You don't want to have small parts that got to get thrown to the garbage because they're too small to use. I'm trying to do this quick. I'd spend a lot more time with these, but because I'm doing a live stream, I'm trying to do it a little bit quicker. I'm kind of wrecking them a little bit as compared to what I'd be doing normally. So we're just trying to pull these apart. I'm not worried about the shingle that's on top of the shingle because it'll get covered by the layers above it. It's like they're laminating on me. Or delaminating on me. Okay, so normally what you do when you roof a roof, yeah, my first job was roofing the roofing, working for R&R roofers. I'd probably get thrown in jail if I told you what it meant. But those days have gone by. Long gone. Reefer roofers doesn't happen no more. So we're going to just spread out our weld bond glue. We're using weld bond because if it squeezes through to the top, it's going to look clear anyways. You're not going to see it. There's nothing, going to be nothing there. So the first line of shingle that when you always put it down, now lots of people say they use 3M tape and that kind of works. But, you know, if you add a lot of alcohol or a lot of weathering to your roofing, liquid weathering, well, what happens to your masking tape when you add water to it? Does it stay sticking? You know, and alcohol is worse. It's worse. It doesn't get better with alcohol. I'm sorry. So, you know, if you see in the instructions, use two-sided tape. It's fine if you're using powdered weathering and stuff like that. But I don't really suggest that you do it. I think that it is... you know, I like to get things down, really down and down forever, so we use weld bond for everything. Maybe this is a good spot for Eileen's tacky glue, so I'm going to put it down. Our first course down, on top of our our flat piece, or I don't know what to call it. Words are hard. And I'm going to get a couple of courses down before I look at the chat and find out what you're all saying about my funny hair. So I'm just going to do it quickly. Now, we like to stagger these things, so we're going to go opposite ways each course. And what this does is, now that our streaking is staggered, now you can start to see how the mosaic comes out. It looks like one shingle is not cut on this strip, and I'm going to call that guy. You see? You can't see, can you? There's that one shingle that's attached to it, and it's screwing this whole thing up. I think he might have done it on purpose so it doesn't turn out like this stuff. That's a pain in the butt. No, that fell off. Okay. So like I said, we're just staggering it. And so what we're doing here is we're gluing not the entire shingle. We're gluing about half the shingle, and the bottom half is not glued at all. And what that's doing is giving you the opportunity to go back with your razor blade to pull up a shingle here or there to make it look like it's time to do the roofing again, even though you just did it. Isn't that typical? There, we got these. We're going to use up these shingles all the way, so we're going to cut them off. Like that. We'll just continue on. And the reason why I'm cutting these off is because I want them randomized. I want these streaks that are going on the roof to happen quickly. And you might notice that the weld bond's is drying faster than I want it to. It is doing that to be a pain in the butt. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. I wipe my finger off on the bottom of the desk. Don't look under there. But the thing is we got ourselves a texture coming down that is like a mosaic. Mosaic roofing is a mosaic roofing. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 shingles here that are attached to the bottom, and they think they're the show. They really do think they're the show. Bugger. Pain in the butt. We'll just get a couple of courses on here so you can see what's happening. Now, I'm not worried if the lines on my shingles are touching or are exactly on top of each other at this point, because nobody's going to notice. And I'm telling you that that's the God's honest truth. Nobody's going to notice here. It's with all the streaking that we've done, we're going to put one more course on because that's how much glue we have there. And we're going to bring this up to the camera so you can see it. Then I'm going to check out what you guys are saying about me on chat. So I hope that looks, you can see that. It's a little bit too light, I can see. But you can see the variation, but also you can't see streaks. What you see is a mosaic of colorings and stuff like that. So let me get to the chat here so we can see what everybody's saying. So if there's any questions that needs to be done, let's do it. Okay, so tar and feather of them. I think that's where Billy left me off. We got 13 people into the call. Thank you everybody for watching. A green wash for moss on roofs under trees. Yeah, that's a good idea. And to make a nice acrylic wash, again, try out your isopropyl alcohol, but mix it 50-50 with water, because you don't want your isopropyl alcohol to go and attack your glue. That's one thing about weld bond glue. It will get attacked by isopropyl alcohol, and isopropyl alcohol will actually make it loosen it up again. Another way to loosen up, you never know when you need to undo the glue, right? And isopropyl alcohol, you know what, I should probably just use this. Isopropyl alcohol, or another way to loosen your glue is to use, if you got wood pieces that are, wood chunks that are glued together with weld bond glue. With most glues, this will work. Using a hairdryer. A hairdryer, once you heat up that glue, you get into the back side of it where the glue's visible. Your hairdryer will loosen that glue up. It'll melt it down so that you can pull those pieces apart. It's actually a trick that professionals use. You know, when you're not watching the instructions, and you should be watching the instructions. I guarantee you that's what other people are doing it for too. It's not just me. Let's get down to the bottom here. Green grime for 8K. Probably good stuff. I gotta try that 8K stuff myself. I should probably watch Millet's videos too. I bet you she's a good modeler. I criticized her enough. I was a little drunk at the time. I apologize. I should probably apologize to her. She doesn't roll with my circles. That's a good idea. New Haven rails will probably work great on your brake walls. I suspect that's what you might be using it for. You never know who is watching. You got that right, Mr. Rivard. Specifically you. I can't wait to go down and visit you too. Billy says it's okay for R-rated, he thinks. Use masking tape, yep. No, it's not the many streams. It is my software that is doing it. My software is feeding a stream splitter. So it's like either one or the other is broken. And I can see down in the bottom corner is a little red thing when it's loading up, and I haven't seen it do it once yet. I actually could probably bump up the stream a little bit because we haven't lost any frames. And when I have too much of a feed going to it, I lose frames, and I haven't lost any frames in weeks now, so I could possibly put it up a little bit. I don't know. We'll test it out this week. Okay, so the shingles are a very it seems to be a real cheap paper because it's falling apart on us. But you know what? I don't really care. it's a possibility that the paper made it through the laser, and the laser is kind of screwing it up. Maybe it's heating it up too much. Maybe there's not enough ventilation or something. I don't know what's going on with it, but so I don't know what pound of paper it is. I'm not really all that experienced with buying paper and knowing the size of it just yet. I've got a little bit of a video coming up for a bit of a change that I'm going to be making pretty soon. Like, I build a lot of model railroading projects, but my dream is to have an art gallery slash artist space for artists of all disciplines, and that includes scale modelers and D&D guys and people who paint their figures and stuff like that. I want to provide a space for people to hang out and cross-pollinate their hobbies with each other. So I might be trying to get myself into building a few large-scale projects like Hank Chen's doing, and another guy who's going to be a future interview. I want to see if I can do it like a full scratch build from materials that is sourced from the garbage, or just everyday materials that are just you don't immediately think of them being modeling tools or products that you could use. Hank Chen talked about using a detergent lid as a garbage can for large scale, and that's a great idea, when you think about it. I just stay on top of these questions. Transfer tape works well too. Now, transfer tape, Andy, is that like carpet tape? Is that actually, having said carpet tape, now I don't think that I actually called that product correctly at all. That's what I mean. Two-sided tape is commonly known as carpet tape, and it's once it loses its stick, you'll know because the shingles start coming up, and it's just something that happened to me once. I got, in the instructions, even in these instructions, they talk about using carpet tape. But you know how it goes. Once bitten, twice shy. So one time I was doing a roof. I put dull coat on it, and I was putting alcohol streaks so I could get the fade on top of it. And that alcohol penetrated through the shingles and started pulling it up. Actually, started pulling it up in the middle, which is even worse. And and then I had to come back with a toothpick, pull it all up with the tweezers and stuff like that, and paint with glue underneath. So why not be done with it? Why not just be done with it? That's when it comes down to being a custom model builder, the last thing you want to have, number one, is the budget to run out on you, because you have to finish the kit anyways. And if you do it like crap, they're gonna start talking crap about you. So that's first thing you don't want to happen. You don't want the budget to run out. So that's why I don't do custom kits no more, because the budget always seems to run out. It's a race to the bottom. But number two is you don't want that kit to go there where you're going and have the windows falling out. Like I put in these windows with scenic glue. I would never I would never ever do that on a custom kit. I would use two-sided tape. I would use carpet tape on the inside, and I would tape these buggers in. That glass windows, I would tape them in for sure. No doubt about it. And that tape would work great because I'm not adding no alcohol to that, and it would probably be a solid finish. You know, and a great way to do it would be to take your tape and put it all across the back of the walls when you're just doing it on the desk, and cut them out with a nice razor blade. Cut out the windows with a nice razor blade so that when you put your windows in on the other side, you pull off the sticky back and stick your windows on, whether it be acetate or anything like that. I know I got a little bit of carpet tape in the kitchen. But I'm experimenting. Like, I'm not experimenting with this stuff. This stuff I know damn well. I experimented with the scenic glue, is what I meant. But I know darn well that will work. 100%. And you can you can't blame me if you screw it up, because if you screw it up, you're drinking the wrong stuff, or drinking too much of it. Slow down. You should slow down. Really should. Let's get back to what we were doing, shall we? I'm not an interventionist. So, this week, I really have to look at the budget for the supplies, because I want to do something ambitious. And I invited our friend in the chat here, Andy Crawford, to partner up with me on it in the leadership role. However, I invite all of you, when I do announce the new website, I invite all of you to help out. There's a role for everybody. Even if you are not a modeler, there's spots. What we want to do is we want to find stuff online that people have shared and they want to get exposure. You know, we get lots of people out there who are like, they're like, oh, stop spamming my group. Stop spamming my group with your stuff. They're just trying to share their work, And, I want to provide a website that caters to everybody. And the only people who I don't want to cater to is the people who are, like the real tribalists, the real people who aren't really successful model railroaders, who talk down on other people because those other people aren't people that they are fans of. And I call those people bootlickers. I'm sorry, but I do. I call them bootlickers. It's not, they don't add to the hobby in any way. They don't teach anybody. They just rehash ideas from other people, and I don't think it's right. So I'm going to do a website. It's got the name The Modelers Guild. We're going to have a sub-site, possibly, because I've also owned the name Scratch Builders Guild for a long time. So we're going to try to integrate those two names into a website that, it won't just show my stuff. I'm going to put my stuff on it. And if you've got stuff, New Haven, everybody else, Mr. Crawford, if you're doing the YouTube model builders, you could share your stuff there. Everybody can share their stuff there. It'll be fun, and it'll look hot. It won't look all janky. It won't be a forum in disguise. And actually, that's a good point. I don't want to have a forum either. I don't want to have no forum that is like 4,500 different topic groups and categories and stuff like that. So everything's hidden between a 15-click thing. And if you posted 2 years ago, and it's a real popular thing 2 years ago, I don't want it to be disappeared under a whole bunch of junk. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a magazine-style website that really caters to people who are upvoting and commenting. And I think that it's a real big difference. It'll also have the ability for administrators and the moderators to upvote things and sticky things, and I don't know. We'll figure out which kind of features we want and which ones we don't want, and that's what I'm offering to you, Mr. Crawford. And I'm not doing it for any other reason other than the fact that, you know what, I think that your skills are underappreciated. You know, I also hear you talking about things over and over again, which makes me think that, you know, people aren't getting it. Maybe you're not getting, maybe people are pulling the whole, I know what he's talking about, but they don't really know what he's talking about kind of thing. So, you know, we could do that show we were talking about. Let's get this roof finished, shall we? So once again, down in the description, if you like these shows, I'd be really interested in having you become a supporter. We've got a lot of supporters already. It's actually a ton of fun. You know, I've been noticing, you know, for the last 3 months, we've been going up and up and up and up. And, you know, it kind of slowed down a little bit. I think my core supporters have all put in their chips, and, you know, time to get new people, I guess. So, if you are interested in seeing these videos continue, if you are part of the crew that made it to Claire Gilbert's house this weekend and found out about it because of me, you know, that all takes effort. And if you appreciate that effort in any ways, please go down to the description and check out how you can support the show. There's a number of different ways, including buying software that is cheap. It's at a super deal. It's cheap. It's 20% off Helicon Focus. We're going to put a little bit of tar paper here in between the roofs to signify some valley. Let's get in here and do some valley. There, I think that looks good. So maybe this looks a little bit better to you now. What do you think? Do you like it? Huh? As you can see, you might be able to see it. You might not be able to see it because it's all gray. Would have been smarter for me to do the black stuff first. I'm beginning to realize that now. Hindsight's 100%. But as you can see, we've got our tan roof. We've got our light Martha Stewart gray. The bitch is doing a good job tonight. And then we got some Depot buff. And these colors are all working together to look like a slate roof, or not a slate, a shake shingled roof. And there's a cornucopia of colors and lines and textures in there that'll really work. So let's look. I am the mad scientist, Mrs. White, or Miss White, I don't know. I'm not going to assume. Right on, Joelle. That's cool. You know, she says that acrylic paint watered down for stain worked so well. I'm glad I tried it. You know, you add a little bit of alcohol to that, and the alcohol becomes a penetrant. Let me show you something here. If I got it, I haven't. Pretty typical. It would be pretty typical if I can't find it. I've been just sitting here showing people all week. Oh well. I made some. I've been testing out barn boards. I think I moved them out of the way because I was getting prepared tonight, and they're somewhere. But you know, that a little bit of alcohol and even glycerin. Glycerin really allows the paint to penetrate the entire solution. That's an important mix because, you know, when you start adding alcohol to acrylic with a little bit of water, it becomes an emulsion, and it just kind of breaks up into little balls and doesn't really mix all that well. But with a little bit of glycerin, that attaches to our acrylic paint and it becomes a suspension. It really becomes the paint just becomes a part of the entire solution, and it's really remarkable what glycerin will do to a paint. I'm really beginning to like it more and more and more every day. I think it's the real hero of the show when it comes to using isopropyl alcohol in terms of cleaning brushes, making paint stains, or fixing up your dollar store paints. It's really some good stuff. Yeah, well, that's what I'm giving you the opportunity, Mr. Crawford. We're looking at you over here. More time. You know, you don't have to keep on beating your head up against the wall. You know, it'd be good if, you know, you could support those guys in a different way, you know. It's not always, I'm just giving you the offer. You can take it or leave it. I got a cat on my damn window. It's bugging me. No, I haven't done any skeletons. No, not yet. But I might. I'm cheap. Well, look at that. So the glycerin and the water worked well for you. So I haven't even tried that yet, Joel. So let's get to... We've got a bit more shingles to go on this side of the roof. And I want to get this roof done so that we can make a nice thumbnail for the video after the fact. I'm just going to say it one more time. I hope you guys all checked out Hank Chen's video. I hope you really checked it out for the whole entire video because there's so much content there. It's unbelievable. He does these models in, you know, he does 1/12 scale dioramas that are like 1 foot by 1 foot. And then he does, he does these, it's really hard to tell what they are. They're like, they're 1/12 scale models of 1/35 models. So that when you look at it, they're all like... And then at the end of the video, you can really see how he pulls the camera back, and you can see the actual box where the models are in, and it really blows your mind. Like, he opens up this little door, and it's a 1/12 scale door, but then you look on the sawhorses at this model, and it's a model of a 135 scale model, or maybe a 112 scale model, but it's built in a 112 scale model, so it's like 11200. I don't know. It's my exploded mind can't do math anymore. I'm just a broken person. It was an amazing trip. That's really all you can say. This in one part of the video, he's got a train car in Taiwan. It's a Taiwanese old train car, and then he's got his cell phone propped up behind the window there, so that it looks like it's going down the tracks. And I'm sure I was talking to Patrick Rivard today, and he kind of filled in the blanks for me. That he figures that Hank was on the train, recorded this out the window shot with his cell phone, and then came back and put the cell phone on the back of the windows of that model, and then recorded it so it looks like it's going down the tracks. And holy shit, man, it looks like it's going down the tracks. Just unbelievable stuff. And, you know, I'd do anything to travel across the world and see what those guys are doing, because those guys are cray. Awesome stuff. Getting caught up here. Finish up this chat. Yeah, what? Okay, I think Bill did the math, but I'm not going to believe him until, I don't know. Yeah, it was Shogun Warriors and Gundam, and like he was doing mini comic books, and you're looking at him, and you're like, he's just got comic books sitting on the table, and it's like another one's got a pack of smoke sitting on a table with a cigarette, with an ashtray, and you're like, oh, well, and then this big thumb comes in the window like this, and you're like, whoa, holy smokes. They're just unbelievable. You do yourself a big favor by checking that out. Yeah, 1/12 of 1/12 scale. What he said. Or it's down below. Right down there. So let's get this one side done. We're flying through time here. And I kind of want to sit down and have a pint with you. I've been talking to some Australian and artists, diorama artists from Hong Kong. I've been talking through translators. Yeah, like I got this guy, Li Wei Lei, and Chung Hun Xie, and they're my translators, man. I contact them, and these guys are like, "You're talking to who? Oh my God, I'll talk to you. Oh, he's my hero." And it's like, oh yeah, you know. So it's like, it's so much fun breaking out. I'm getting distracted by a future project here. Got to keep it hidden. Just a little. We're gonna be working on some city scenes pretty soon. I gotta keep it quiet though, because I don't know if the client is actually serious or not, because he's from the New York area, and there's a lot of people who don't like me in that area. So I suspect that there's some funny business going on. Now, even you might notice that I'm cutting these off kind of rough. I'm not really interested in cutting them perfectly right off the hop because I'll come back later and cut them up nice and cleanly. Hold the back of the card with my fingers on the inside and get them pushed down because it's a little bit wavy gravy. You know, if that becomes a problem with you with your shingles, you could brace the roofing, but I don't like to. There's a lot of things you can do to a roof to really make it feel old. Like I could take these big shears. Let's do it. Let's screw around. I'm gonna do something that'll make you shake your head. Cutting down from each side. Now you're thinking to yourself, Ron, what the hell are you doing now? Well, I'm putting a crook in the roof. The owner of this building's cheap and is not doing much to keep it fixed. So now, instead of pushing down on the roof to try to get it to sit in there, we're going to go underneath. We're going to drop some glue down from the top. We're going to go like this. Then we're going to take a fingy. We're going to take an applicator and we're going to spread it out. Yeah, I can't get my finger in there. Keep your jokes to yourself. Okay, now you're going to look at this roof and you're going to say, man, there's a dip in the top. You can say, I know how that guy did that. And then when you say how that guy did it, nobody's going to believe you. Not one of them. You're going to have to show them the video. It's the way it works, my friends. I ain't never done that before, ever. We're going to take these shingles, we're going to cut them in half this time. Cut the other side off. I have a feeling that they're not going to be long enough to do the entire roof, but whatever. I have a feeling that it might be easier to pull this stuff off if it's halfway. There we go. Now, there we go. Put a bit more glue on, because our weld bond glue, it dries real quick, and that's one of the benefits. That's what, if you got you know, other than Elmer's, because I'm going to try to get a few different kinds of Elmer glue, but this glue sets up really quickly. As a matter of fact, when I was doing that Chicago L that I just showed you a few seconds ago, I was building them with Chester Fessmeyer in the call back in 2005. And I was building them without a jig. I was building them in hand and just going one piece after another, whackety, 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 whack. And it kind of amazed Chester that I was doing it, you know. And once you use a product and you know it's going to work, you know, you don't really, you lose fear. You just kind of do things. So even though these pieces are, the streaks are kind of, we're still getting our streaks to do a mixture of things. We're going to add this little half piece in here so that it pushes us over a bit so we get some variation in our streaking. We're only going to do this one side of the wall because I want to put some roll paper on the back side. So now we're coming up to the top where the roof is sagging because the ridge post or the peak post, or whatever you want to call it, whichever part of the world, whichever your carpenter says it. And we're going to take our shingles here and we're going to go. That's what happens. You pop like that. So we're going to start putting them on with an angle like that, coming up to the top. Even this last one I just put on, we're going to put that up on an angle. And that kind of caters to the edge of the roof, because this roof didn't get cut off with a pair of scissors in real life. It's just happening on the model table. In real life, what happens is that one ridge post there, the king post, or not, it's a ridge post. I'm sure of it. It rotted out. The shingle capping, it got all sun-baked, and it cracked in the middle. And maybe the birds, they like to shit up there. That shit's a toxic mixture of crud and bones and Bend this up. And the water started getting through, and the ridge post rotted out in the middle. And you know, the rafters, they're still weighted down on that ridge post, so when it rotted out in the middle, those rafters are kind of pulling it down. So that's what's happening here. Now we got a nice thing. We're gonna try to pull down these shingles here because they look like they're out of place, too far straight. Start pulling them up on the edges so that everything starts looking proper. Get in the back and push it out. Now I might still put in a little bit of a bracing down here so that we get a nice brace here. We just want our top to be a little bit janky. So there's what it looks like on this side. We're going to cut off our shingles. I got to cut them up on this side. Oh, I love those scissors. So now we got our I usually like to go with my shear scissors to cut everything because it's real easy, but when you're doing rolled roofing, now I don't measure these, but you know, I like to have a real straight line because it's one of those things that people notice. It really doesn't matter to me if they're all different sizes. They're all about the same size. Oh, that noise. Ugh. It's like scratching on the chalkboard. Ah. Now, I believe this paper was put in the box for a view block on the inside of the structures. Now, I say that because it came with this construction paper here, this manila construction paper, and you see those lines. What you do is you paint the backside black, and then you cut on those lines, and that gives you your rolled roofing. But I like to use that paper for other things, and this view block stuff is going to work just fine for us. Don't worry. Now the next thing is we want to cut these. Now I know they come in great big rolls, and people usually put them in great big rolls, but I'm going to cut them into about 8-foot lengths. And 8 foot is about that long. You can take my word for it, or you don't have to. There we go. We got 3 sections of 8-foot lengths. I'm going to put down our glue lickety split on this roof. We'll spread it out. Now this goes really quick. You just have to sit here and get your paper out, and you go full length. Find out how far it goes. Now, the one trick that I like to do is you always overlap the same way. You wonder why people, well, you might not, but when you're roofing a house, you're worried about prevailing winds. And what that means is winds always go from west to east. So you don't want your wind trying to pick up your shingles on your caps and stuff like that. And the same with other things on roofing. So that's something that you could look into if your model's sitting there. I don't really bother with the prevailing winds, but I like to be able to see. I got to put it down this side first, then this side. I'm talking too much. And I just put the stagger point at different spots. We're going to use up the rest of this stuff. I didn't cut too much. We're going to be using it up on other spots of the buildings. Now, after this rolled roofing here is cured up, the glue is all cured up, I'm going to put my fingers in the back and I'm going to grab my ponce wheel. And I'm going to run the ponce wheel down at the bottom edge where the nails would be. I might put a couple of whole ponces on the where the overlaps are, but I basically want to get my ponce wheel to run along the bottom edge of our rolled roofing, because that's just the way they do it. They don't glue these things down, they nail them down, so that's the way we're going to do it too. Yeah, sure, they do put tar down, but you know what I mean. Well, you might not. I don't know. There's a little edge on top, and we're going to pre-cut. I got shaky fingers. That's why the girls like me. Just kidding. Just kidding. PG. I don't want to teach any kids anything. So I'm just going to eye up the size of that space on the top. I'm going to cut this piece so I can slide it in there. Now clearly we're only going to be able to do one roof tonight. However, I've got 3 different techniques to do. We've got our metal corrugated roofing that's going on this structure. And this structure is getting it's like a metal roofing that has it's kind of like board and batten walls with metal nailed to it. The whole word, the whole style, the name of it is escaping me at the moment. So let me get my last piece on. We're going to cut off the edges of this. And then we're going to look at the chat and see what you guys are saying about my funny head. I want to thank you guys, everybody, for watching. This piece is too thin. This piece might be too thin too. Oh well. We'll hide that up with a piece of something sometime. Let me get my fingers up in here so that we can push it down nice and solid. If you were watching yesterday, you'll know that this piece that was on this side of the wall really didn't fit all that well for us. We had to MacGyver it up. We'll get in here and we're going to cut this roofing proper here on the back. There we go. I'm going to fold it over on the edges. And we're going to let it dry for a few seconds before I put my ponce wheel to it. I'm going to look a little bit of our chat here. Okay. Yeah. I was a little glazed over when I watched it too, Ron. I don't blame you. Pint, yeah. Yeah, so Joelle, we're going to be doing that next show. It could be Saturday. It might be Saturday. I don't know. I'm really busy in the spring and the fall. We've got various things going down, and I might be on ship patrol. Somebody's got to do it, you know. That brings me to the point of support. If you guys want to support this thing, might have to work less. Anyway, so yeah, both of the metal roofings that we're going to do are going to be metal with just a wee bit of rust. Yeah, well, Joelle, wet, like a fine grit sandpaper, I know the type you're talking about, doesn't have much of a texture on it. However, it's too much of a texture, in my opinion, for HO scale. However, for larger scales, yeah, go to town, for sure. It actually, it works really well. Jennifer, you probably see corrugated metal roofs, and you're from Edmonton, I believe. So out west, they get a little There's a lot more building products this way than there is out that way, I believe. Well, it's a modern day. I imagine you guys get all the products now, but historically, back in the 70s and stuff like that, it was pretty limited. Yes, Patrick. No, I guarantee you Sparky's not here tonight. He plays hockey today. And if he was here tonight, he'd be chatting it up with us. I guarantee you. Sharpies for tar edges. Okay, CB, I'm going to copy that name down. Let me copy that name down before we get to anywhere else. Copy. Paste you out there. Okay. Get back to you. So, what was I saying? Sharpies for tar edges. Now, not all black inks are created equal. Okay? I gotta say this correctly. When it comes to ink, a lot of black inks are actually a dark blue. And that really only becomes apparent when you're trying to mark that ink onto black paper. So what would happen if you have a blue ink in your marker that's supposed to be black? It'll look purple and it'll stand out like nobody's business. And I've seen a number of people. In fact, the guy who spammed all my posts on Model Railroad Hobbyist did this on his building, and I refused to say anything about it because I imagine the whole world was looking at that and said, well, I ain't never seen purple tar before. We'll just leave that at that. I still talk about that though, and I'll always talk about that. You bring that up anytime, I'll talk about. I'll guarantee you I'll bring that up, because if you go spam somebody's posts and hide in the background and not tell anybody, if you've been challenged by that person, I know you spam these posts. Oh no, I didn't. Oh no, I didn't. You deserve it. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, Sharpies for tar edges would work perfectly if they are actually black. And I will always go back to what I say. Test out what you're doing before you bring it showtime. Make sure these markers are what you want them to be. Because if they are actually a blue ink that is dark blue, made to look black, when you put them on black paper, you won't be able to see that they're supposed to be black. They'll actually turn purple or something like that. And often too, black paper is colored with dark blue ink too. So that's just it's just a word to the wise. The truly only black stuff that I've ever seen is India ink, and that's why you use that in our ink and alcohol solution, because India ink is black, and a lot of other inks that you get are not actually black. So pay attention to that, and if you might start seeing it, you might start thinking to yourself, that Frenchman up north, there, he was right, Tabernacle. Yeah, I know, Patrick. Don't worry. You don't have to tell me you're joking. I'll call you a troll, though. And I got rid of your little ticker there. I got rid of it. You're trolling me because of my bald head. That's why I wore the hat today. Yes, I'll check out Yasuhiro Okugawa. I'm going to have to work on that name before I talk to him, though, if I actually do. CB. Pro tips. That is a great tip. And it is another thing that we could do with weld bond glue. Let's do this on some white paper. Now, weld bond glue is perfectly clear when it's dried. We've showed. If you didn't see it before, we'll show you again. You know, we'll go down here. You can see that over here it's white and over here it's brown because there's brown table underneath it. It's totally clear. So what if we mixed our weld bond glue with black paint? It becomes black. And sure, it is there is a definite gloss finish to this glue. However, what I usually do is I usually dull coat everything anyways, and as long as you don't hit your dull coat, with alcohol after the fact, dull coat will dull this glue. Well, I guarantee you that. But if you hit it with alcohol, it'll start to turn white. And if you actually forget, you're like, oh man, I just screwed it all up and it turned white, add more dull coat and it'll go back to dull coat. So our pro tip, to go, you don't really need to get yourself some black glue. You can make it on your own with weld bond. Just to mix a bit. Just to mix it a bit with black paint. And when you mix it, it'll turn all gray on you. You're like, oh man, that's not black, it's gray. But when this glue dries out, I use the thick paint at the top of the lid. I should have used other paint. But what happens here is now we've got glue that is black tar. And I want to thank you, CB, for bringing that up. Because sure, this has a gray tinge to it right now, right? But what happens after it goes dry in about an hour or less, probably about an hour, because you've added a retardant to the glue. So it'll take a little bit longer to dry, but it'll go perfectly black. Because the only reason that it's gray is because it's mixing with the white in the glue. And once it goes clear, just like this, it'll turn black. So we got tons of tips today. Tons of tips. Filling at you, giving it like a boo 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 boo. So I think that was a pretty good show. How long are we running now? 1 hour and 49 minutes. You know what? I'm sorry, Andy, if you're still here, but there was a show the other night, and there was a lot of good content on there. But there was 6 people on that call, And there was a lot of crickets. I'm telling you, there's a lot of crickets. And I'm just one guy here. And if you want to sit there and if you like the tips that you're getting from this show, please consider. You don't have to. If you can't afford it, I'm not telling you have to do anything. Okay? If you can't afford to chip in for this show, don't you worry, you're going to get the thumbs up. Not one of my programs will ever be behind a paywall. Okay? The only way my stuff will be ever put behind a paywall is if I am paid by another company and then they put it behind their paywall. But if we're producing this stuff on YouTube, I've got this availability that I can do subscriptions and stuff like that. I'm not into that. I'm not into restricting the amount of people who can consume this content. This content is available to every single modeler out there in the world, in the entire world. And if you can afford it, if you can afford $1, $4 or more per month, that's all we're asking for. Okay? $1 by 20 people is a great contribution. And the thing is I only do 4 videos a month, but you can put a maximum of $1 for a month. And even if I put out 20 videos and charge it, I don't do 20 videos. I only do 4. So you'd only pay $1. But if you put in $1 and you don't put no maximum, I'm not going to take advantage of you. I know another guy, another scenery artist out there. I won't say him by name. He does like 4 or 5 videos a week, and each of those videos gets him $500 or more. It is an unbelievable thing, and I don't even really think that. I don't think the tips that you're getting from that guy are legitimate. I think, I don't think he's been doing it as long as I have. And you know what? The stuff that you're getting on this channel is stuff that either I'm testing out honestly and not hiding my mistakes. I'm coming out with the true goods. And if you want to be a supporter, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/Ron Perry. There's, right down there, I always get it wrong. Down in that side, a little red down the bottom corner, that's the link. Put it in your digits and pop it out. And I don't know for sure. I might have erased it, but if you support the show, it'll come up. I might have erased it because those things were kind of getting janky. But if you're a patron supporter or you are like Mr. Rivard and contributed through the other the one-off donation, hey, you know what? I thank you all for it, and it's really you're supporting my dream. I think that I'm providing you with a legitimate service. And, having support, doing something that is, part of your passion, it's kind of like being a male prostitute, you know what I mean? Come on, you know what I mean. It's not work. It's not work, and you're getting paid. Don't get any ideas. It's just... Sometimes I have to shake my head at the shit that comes out of my mouth. I'm a person who lives in the moment. You never know what you're gonna do, or what you're gonna get with me. It's definitely not gonna be the same thing twice. I wish I had some kind of bell to get some kind of service here. I really want to get a pint. You guys mind if I go get a pint? Tell me in the chat real quick. Or am I going to have to wait 4 minutes? I'm going to get thirsty. I hope you... Come on, let me go. I'm going to get a pint. I'll be right back. It's pretty good when you know where everything is. So, I hope you like the show. Please ask the questions. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat there. We're going to pour a big cup into old Scully here. Hey Jen, here's my skeleton. Actually, if you guys seen the Black Sails, it's an unbelievable show on TV. Unbelievable. It's all about pirates of the Caribbean, but it's this real historical. It's just kind of cool. So let's get up here to see where we do our. So thank you, CB, for that tip. I hope my little experiment here will show you. You know what? We'll be able to see how shiny it is in the end anyways. I seem to remember it turns satin anyways. But we'll put dull coat over it after it's dry. Yes, see, Joel, you have to be really creative with making your black colors, because the combination, like a black is the lack of all color, and how do you mix colors to do that? So dark blue and burnt umber would probably counteract each other's in fantastic ways to do that. So yeah. Sorry I'm getting in so close. I don't really have good eyes at all. Not at all. I'm sorry. So I'm so happy to see. You know what, Scott? That's a sign that you're truly learning. And if you stick with it, this is Scott's message here. And if you stick with it, you start to appreciate your modeling more, because you're like, oh, I ain't gonna do that again. I ain't gonna effing do that again ever again. And that makes you a better modeler. These mistakes, you gotta use them as I tell people all the time, you don't want to learn from somebody who's perfect at this stuff, because they're not perfect. They're just perfect at hiding their mistakes on you, and they're just leaving you in the lurch to fail yourself, and that is a crime, in my opinion. So there we go. We got a "You're welcome" from CB. Right back at ya. Yeah, I think Bob Ross would be proud. Well, Patrick Rivard, that's a total possibility of putting it down on wax paper and let it dry and then peel it off to use it. That's you could probably use it, let's say, in roads, if you want to put your cracks in the roads. But when you're like, okay, when I put my glue down on the road, it's too thick of a strip, right? So we put it down on wax paper and then cut those strips out with the razor blade, the perfect thickness, about a 1/16 of an inch, you know, and then you fit them in those cracks and then they look all clean, you know. And I know that when you go out to the road, I got my black finger, I just voted, no, just kidding. You go out to the road, you look at the tar strips, it's not all clean, but when you use a toothpick doing this stuff on the roads, it is unrealistically messy. Whereas the roads, they are realistically messy. But if you put it down on wax paper, like you say, and then cut your strips off, you know, you're really coming down to fine scale modeling there, because you have total control of the stuff that you're doing. And, you know, sure, you could accomplish that task with a toothpick, but, you know, it would be even better with the suggestion you just made. Thank you, Patrick. Yes, Patrick has a layout, and I'm going to be visiting it soon. Hopefully, we're going to get that together sometime. Is it air conditioned there, Patrick? It might tell us when things go down. That might be a detail. Train Driver Show wants us to subscribe to him, and I tell you what I tell to everybody who says that to me, Train Driver. You gotta subscribe to my channel and comment on the next 10 videos. You do that, I'll subscribe. For sure, I guarantee you, I don't lie. Well, I do lie, but I don't lie on purpose to people like you. Comment on those videos and I'll go subscribe. I get people every day, not every day, but every week, people comment telling me to do that. So you're not teasing me. I hope you're not thinking that I'm teasing, or you teasing me, Joel. You gotta settle down. Settle down. We've been through this before. Yeah, we got our pints. I'm more trouble with one there, Billy. Let's have a. I haven't even had a drink of it yet. And you might be asking yourself, what kind of beer does he have? I make my own beer, Cooper's Lager. This is a lager. I've got Pilsner underneath the table. I kind of really like the Canadian Blonde, but I've been trying different flavors. And next time I go out, I'm going to get 2 batches of Canadian Blonde. And the thing, there's a good bad things about Canadian Blonde is it just tastes so damn good that I just... I just drink too much of it. I don't really like to drink them. I'm not a big drinker either. I like to have a nice glass like this. I probably won't even finish this glass. But I'm a 1 pint kind of guy, because it goes straight to my head. Oh, like a punch in the head. Oh yes, it's O-Scale. Oh, so exciting. I've never actually played with O-Scale. Jennifer, I didn't know you had an HO-Scale layout. Rock and roll. Billy, you've got N-Scale. Where did I see that? I got more toys for you, Billy. But you gotta come up with some. We already sent you some stuff, so you gotta come up with some content for the show or something. We gotta. You gotta show me that you're doing something with that stuff I sent you. You don't have to go all out and do everything, but you do some of it or something, and let's see if you're doing it. Because if you've got an N scale layout, let's pull it out. I've got an N-scale version of this bridge system, and it's got these. It's got the abutments. It's got the bridge, and then it's got these girder bridge with this abutment, and that's what it comes in the kit. And I've got an HO scale one up in the rafters, and I just haven't gotten to it. I've had it for years. And heck, I was wondering where this was. I've got that bugger too. An old N-scale shop or station. We're working fast and loose here. So this our glue is still drying. So yeah. Okay, so calm. You know what, Scott? That is because you're an artist. Every single time I send out a kit to somebody who I've built their structure for them, I know where the bodies are buried. And so do you. And that's the problem. Sure, there are ways to fix your blemishes. A really good way is to ask the wife or your significant other. I don't judge. But ask, beat around the bush. Ask them, is there anything wrong with this? And then they say, no, it's all right, honey. It's beautiful. And then you kind of get a little bit more direct. No, there's something wrong with this wall here. Can you see it? Or is it just me? No, baby, I think it's just you. Well, it's right here. What do you think about it? And then that's how you find out about these things. And if she says, you know what, I think you're going way out overboard with it, Scott, and then you've got your answer. Because when you have an artist's mind, the only way you can improve is to critique yourself. It's really. Because most of the time when you talk to your friends, they're non-confrontational and they don't want to hurt your feelings or stuff like that. Or somebody who's out there and he just slams you with something and you're like, you gotta. It just doesn't work. So if you get the old lady or your significant other and you tell them, you start beating around the bush. You start off soft. You get them to say, oh, it's okay. And then you get serious. And then you point it out to them. It's right there. This is what's bugging me. And then if they say, I think you're going overboard with it, then you gotta leave it be. But what you're doing is you're critiquing yourself, and you're always going to become better because you just allow yourself to make those mistakes like we talked about up there in the chat. And if you keep on critiquing yourself like that, you're going to become a master. Imagine you're pretty good right now by coming out with such an intelligent question. Thank you for asking such a good question. Yeah, a sugar problem. I hear that. I quit drinking for many years, between the age of 30 and 39. I drank way too much before I had my kids, and when I had my kids, I just said to myself, you know what, I'm not drinking no more, and I quit until they got older, and now that I quit for almost 10 years, this has got to be a special occasion. I gotta fall on a case of beer to. I gotta really try to get drunk, but when I do, chair goes out in the backyard. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, right? Whiskey and water works though, there, my friend. Yeah, the Twitch chat is faster, but I took off a lot of the streams. We went from 5 streams down to 3 infinity. And actually the chat on YouTube is within 2 minutes, I believe, now, because it's actually, before we were actually getting about a 4 or 5 minute lag. And I kind of went into YouTube and set everything up so there is no lag there. And I'm hoping that, you know what, it's just like building models. They're my buddy friend who plays video games with my son. That's super cool. I like that. I really like that. I really appreciate you doing that. But you know, you gotta solve problems one by one. Yesterday we had a show and I was like a robot. You know, it was pretty awful. This is like freezing up for like 10 seconds. It's pretty awful. So we come back and we try to troubleshoot it and figure it out. I think we got it sorted out tonight, but thanks for watching, buddy. HO all the way here now. That makes me feel like you did N scale before there, Mr. Brights. Yeah, Joel has a 2 foot by 2 foot N scale layout, an on 30 layout. It goes on and on. It goes on and on with that girl. I made a Z scale layout once, and I actually, for the carnival layout, I was thinking about putting up a little ride. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna test it out to see if it fits out nice. Make a little Z scale, little exhibit for the kids to ride around the park in. I don't know. It makes me happy to think about it. He's a freaking comedian. Okay, awesome, Billy. I'm just ripping you. You know that. Those things are yours anyways. Yeah, Joel, I have a lot of dioramas kicking around here that are... I'm actually really lucky. I've always been a creative kind of guy, and when I got into modeling, I really have never been stumped. A number of times I really should have been stumped, and I just never got stumped yet, and you know, I thank God for that. I think Scott's talking about blemishes in paint. Sometimes you get a little bit of glue somewhere and it embeds itself. Sometimes the glue gets embedded with the wood before you put your paint on, and you gotta come back and fix it and stuff like that. And you know what? New Haven's right for pointing this out. You know, Scott, even if it is bugging you, and even if the old lady doesn't see it, you go for it. You try to fix it. You know, challenge yourself. In the end, you know, you can always pop that window back out and redo that wall. But then on the other hand, sometimes it's just a clear coat on top. You pop out that window, you put a clear coat over top of the whole thing, and sometimes that will disappear it. If we're talking about a shiny finish, if we're talking about a little bit of blue glue that's coming up and it's giving you texture, might be another fix. But if it's a finish, being glossy or satin or what have you, you know, put another finish coat over top of it. It might hide it up for you. Yeah, you know, it's good. It is great to see so many skills, Patrick. It's so true, because you know, it's usually we're all siloed in this hobby, and you know, that's what I'm really beginning to notice and appreciate in the wargaming and dioramists fields of scale modeling, because those guys really. They're not they don't seem to be siloed at all. I imagine the military guys are pretty siloed, but you know, I see a lot of these people interacting with each other. Whereas in the hobby of model railroading, you know, the O scale guys really don't hang with the N scale guys, and the N scale guys, they don't hang with HO. Everybody's a little standoffish. We were talking about that today at Claire's, you know, tribalism. Tribalism is a real big thing in this hobby. It's, I don't know. Right on, Scott. I'm very happy to have, you know, discussed this. Artist to artist, because I really think you have an artist's mind to be talking like that. Yeah, that's what I thought, Mr. Brights. Having somebody on in the shop as a guest, you mean, or in a hangout? Because we do hangouts. And we can set that up after the fact. I was thinking about doing that next weekend, Patrick. That brings me to the schedule. I work crazy hours. I work on the farm. I work every morning. I get up at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Jump the hell out of bed. I do my thing. I go get a coffee. You don't want to know what my thing is, but I'll get a coffee. And I jump in the car and I go milk cows for about 3 hours or so. I can sometimes get it done in 2.5 hours, and I get a salary for that. And so it's like because when you get a salary at work, it means you could work just a few hours in a day or a whole bunch of hours in a day, and it's all over the board. So I do that 7 days a week. And pretty much on a Saturday, 3 p.m., I figure that I'll always be off then. And if I do a 3 p.m. show on Saturday, that'll be available to modelers in the European time zones, because that's around 9 o'clock their times, 9 to midnight kind of area. And you know, and I really am not interested in siloing myself, to use that word again, just to the Canadian crowd, or just to the American crowd, or just to the East Coast crowd, or just to the East Coast crowd. I want to be everywhere. Ron Brights is in Australia. Like, he's probably got stuff on the slow boat still going to him. Ain't that true, Mr. Brights? So, Saturday at 3 p.m. and Sunday at 9 p.m. And those are Eastern time zones, Eastern Standard Time zones. You can figure out how it works for you, because you're all over the world. I can't really tell you how it all is. However, if you are interested in coming in on the call, doing a hangout, sharing your modeling, I can help you set it up. Contact me over my email, perry.ron@gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat. I'm not afraid to put my email in the chat because I use Gmail, and Gmail is really darn good at fighting spam. I rarely ever get spam on Gmail, so I put it in the... Well, I didn't put the @. I've been drinking. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So give me a shout on the email if you want to come in on the show. I'm happy to have you. Joel, I'm not avoiding you. I'm not doing this skipping out on you thing. Don't you worry about that. Don't worry about that one bit. I'm not afraid. And I'm not embarrassed or anything like that. You don't frickin' worry about all that horse shit. How many cows? Half of them? I know a few of their names, but not how many of them there are. They're all girls. I know that. Oh, gosh. So, yeah, we'll do a hangout next weekend. We don't want to do it all the time because, number one, to be honest with you, doing a hangout, you got to have a lot of participants. You got to have a lot of people in the crowd to kind of ask questions and stuff like that. And I just started doing this about 3 weeks ago. And, it takes time to build a following. I'm aware of that. I'm not interested in force feeding things out there. For the first week, I live streamed pretty much every day in the week. I think I did 6 days out of the 7 days, and I only did that to really try to find out who was out there. And the best times to do it. So, it's all about testing, experimenting, making sure that I'm getting to the people who want to consume the content. And so I forget what I was talking about there. So let's move on. Oh yeah, so yeah, I only do the hangouts every once in a while because it's really a little interactive kind of thing. I guess this is pretty interactive. Again, I've been drinking. The piano's been drinking, not me, not me, not me. If you can tell me who sings that song, you get 2 points. I'm a diesel trains guy, and most of my trains are Rapido trains. And there's a good reason for that because Jason Schron, the owner of Rapido Trains, is exactly the same age as me. And we live in the exact same region. So when he started Rapido Trains, it was all about creating the trains of his youth which are the trains of my youth. And I did everything I could to build a photo prop for him to be able to get a gangsta's deal with Rapido trains. And I was successful in doing that maybe early 2016 or 2015. I think it was spring 2016 or 2015. The clowns are on the slow boat. Yeah, you probably want a Jersey there, Joelle. Those Jersey cows, they're easy on the eyes, and they got real thick milk. Real thick milk. Make great cheese. I used to, funny story, I used to drive for the Amish as a barn builder crew. Now, I was the driver, and, you know, they used to call me the heathen because that was the end of my drink. That was I quit drinking after I was working with them. I'd go all hungover, stinking. But the one Amishman, his name was Neil Troyer, and it was rumor had it that he was a millionaire, and he was 63 years old, and he was the toughest mofo on our crew. Hands the biggest. He'd have 2 Clydesdales out in the field, furrowing the field with a hand furrow. And just a monster, like he was a superhero of a man who wore very primitive clothes. But he had Jersey cows, and he would bring me a big glass of Jersey milk every once in a while. That stuff was delicious. Ugh! Unpasteurized. I'll make you a man. I'm gonna put hair on. Oh, I know you're trying to work away from that, so. Yeah, Scott, that's exactly what you do. You know, if it really, really bugs you, there's always a way to cover it up. Billy, I knew you were going to come up with it. 2 points for Billy. Tom waits. Small change has been rained on with his own 38. We got our same taste in music there, my friend. Oh yeah, those cows, they know exactly what's going on. You wake up in the morning, it's barely light outside. You open up the back door, and they come walking in. You don't have to tell them where they go. They all go to their own compartment. They're all, you know, you got their food sitting there. They pop their head into the old neck chains there. And they're just doing their thing. You're just there to help them out, you know. That's all there is to it. So yeah, they are so tame. You're so correct. I'm back down to the end of the questions, y'all. Come on, keep it up. Keep it up. We got 2 hours and a half. 2.5 hours. Rocking it. Well, I haven't even had 2 sips out of this beer yet. Let's pound it together. Get it done. So, more questions. I gotta start working on this building again. I almost popped those doors out again there, Bill. Time for you to start your shit again. I'm going to put this black tar aside because it's still a wee bit wet. But it looks, up in this top corner, there's a little bit of satin finish to it. This is what I was thinking was going to turn out. I forget exactly who taught me that. I really wish that I remembered who taught me that. I really like to credit the people who pass on the information to me. I think it's important to do that, and I think it's very telling of the people who don't do that. And I know our friend Crawford here's. I kind of said something to him the other day that was kind of uncalled for. I know he credits people. I think it's important. Not everybody does do that, so you really have to watch out for people who don't credit anybody. It's how-to people who don't do that. Like I've never ever seen Luke Towan credit somebody. Never. And it makes you wonder if he's got a stack of magazines sitting down at the shelf so that he's gets his ideas from, because like you can't become a YouTuber without a layout and become a how-to guy. Like what came first, chicken or the egg? And in that case, I think it was a stack of magazines. Sorry, the way I feel. Call me a prick. I don't know. And in full disclosure, I said the same thing about Kathy Millett, but she's got a big layout, and I was totally wrong, and I'm a fucking prick for doing it. I was drinking. You know what? If you make mistakes, you gotta own up to it. Bottom line. I don't think I've got enough. Oh, I do got enough roof fans over here. Oh, Patrick, I could go on for 8 hours. That is the technical limitations. But by the looks of this beer, I've got about a half an hour to go. I love ambient groove and new age emo. Yeah, that was a nice chopper. I saw that on Facebook, Joel. No, I don't know of the painted lady on the floor. Yeah, there are. See, a lot of these YouTubers, Patrick, they go on for 24 hours straight for charity and stuff like that. You like, you know, we all have these assumptions that kids don't have money and stuff like that. But the thing is when you get to my age and up to your age. You're older than me. I'm not gonna. We're not beating around the bush here, buddy. But you know, these kids, they're donating to charities, and these guys go for 24 hours, and they get up to $1 million, $1 million freaking dollars for charity, and it is truly amazing, and it's really wild. Like, I watched my son's a big fan of that guy named I know his real name, but not his YouTube name, and that's hilarious. Felix. PewDiePie. That's his name. He did his first live stream just a few weeks ago, and my son pointed it out to me, and the guy made $2,500 in the 45-minute stream that he did. And all his viewers are under the age of 30, I believe. So, yeah, this streaming thing really does it. And I know that I've gotten a lot of flack over the last 3 weeks. People who I won't even give them the credit of saying their name publicly, because I think that they're trolling me so that I will say their name publicly. Otherwise, they're nobodies, and we'll keep them as nobodies. They're sitting there saying, "Oh, you're gonna try to get rich on YouTube, eh?" You know. But the thing is that the kids are spending money this way, and it's just our generation that's not willing to do it. So, go figure that. I don't know how to go any farther with it. I'll have to look that up on YouTube there, Joel. I've done very little traveling in the United States. I went to New Orleans when I was 18 years old. Was I 18 years old? It was somewhere when I was 18 or 19 years old, and I went down there to see a Fish concert, and the next night I was going to see Blind Melon. And actually, we went to the Fish concert, and when we woke up in the morning, Shannon Hoon, the singer of Blind Melon, was dead. So that concert was, for lack of a better symbol, it was done. So I've been to New Orleans, and we drove down to New Orleans in a VW bus, like all hippies should. And I've been to North Carolina, I've been to Florida, and I've been to New York. I had to drop off some kits in New York. And actually I talked to Patrick about that today. That story will remain private, Patrick, because you know what? I share it to my friends. You know, I don't really tell everybody about that because you know what? Having those inside stories is a double-edged sword. Okay, Patrick. Good night. If you're off, I'll be off soon too. I hope you like the show, and I appreciate you coming by and chatting with us in the chat. Don't worry, I'm not going to go pulling my shirt off or anything. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, Pennsylvania this November. But the thing is the deal that I had put up for that, I don't know if it's going to go through. I'm trying my hardest to keep it going. I wish I could say what is happening, but it's all inside baseball, and I can't really. Oh, I gotta keep my mouth shut, and that's a hard thing for this kid to do. I'll tell you. So, this model, I realize that it's not really the best picture. Or I don't know what the picture looks like. I'm hoping that you can see the streaking. I'm going like we're gonna be getting a camera soon, and I just made that wet as hell with beer. This model is going to be a gem. I just ran out of shingles. Hands off! What are we going to call this guy? We should have a name for him. I thought I had a name for him last week, but clearly the name was not good enough because I forgot it. Can't call him Billy. We already have a Billy. It was a bad bug. Oh, you can? Awesome. Yeah, this is a technique that I learned, like I said, from Trolls Kirk, but I believe the kit that I seen this in also is in Bob Van Gelder's kits. So it's the kind of thing that you learn in a kit that costs $300 or so. Funny story is all these expensive kits, the $200 plus kits, most of those kits I've received out of barter type deals. When you're a custom model builder, the budget runs out too quick for people, and your time has to have a worth. And once they place a number on that time, on the worth, and people recognize what it is, they find out it's just as much as what they do at work, and it's not an easy pill to swallow for some people. So what happens is they start trying to barter things off with you. So if the budget runs out, the budget runs out, and all you can do is barter. So I've gotten 3 fine scale miniature kits over the years, a South River Model Works kit, 3 Sierra West scale model kits, and really those kits, building those kits were an opportunity for me to learn a master class in model railroading, and it's Scully. She was hot. Just saying. She was hot. I don't know if everybody knows about him. The Drunken Skull. It sounds like a bar. Sounds like my pub. Yeah, Scully's a good one. To the point. Scully. Mulder, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hello, Mark. I am drinking lager, Cooper's lager. It's a homebrew. I am a homebrewing guy. My beers come in 2-liter bottles. I drink. I'm a light drinker. I'm gonna let this cat in. Howdy. You know, I really appreciate it when the cat comes in and goes meow. Kind of makes me think that he's saying thank you. But now that I've been saying something back to him, he's stopped doing it. Prick. Cats. Yeah, so I'm a home brewer. You know, try to keep the costs down, and you know, I don't mind running out of beer. I don't have to have beer in the house all the time, so I kind of like having beer that's kind of aging to perfection. I just wait for it to finish off and stuff like that. So yeah. I was wondering what the hell you were talking about there, Billy. I just put my vat out. What is that? I'm going to put these models on the screen so at least if somebody pops in here and says, what in the bejesus are these guys doing? At least they can say what they're doing. So if you're just coming into the call now, onto the stream, this is what we did today. We put some rolled roofing on today. We cut that off of our stuff. We made some black tar out of black paint and glue. That's a good way to do that. And then we also made some shingling by painting the shingles tan and then streaking them with various contrasting colors that are earth tones to make it look like a nice shake roofing. And then in the end, before I started drinking, it was before. You can go back, you can roll this back and check it out. I used these scissors to cut the roof down to get that nice little sag there in the roof. And the glue's all dried up in there and it's holding it together. It's a nice little, and I've seen a lot of people try to push roofs down to try to get that thing out, and I just like to get in there with a pair of scissors and cut the bugger out. Just cut it out of there. Cut it out. So that's the recap. Hope you liked it. Yeah, you're right, Joelle. They're not appreciative. You know, I like cats because, you know what? Well, I love dogs, and my Dalmatian died 4 years ago, and on one hand, I just gotta say, it's a lot easier to lose a cat than it is a dog. Dogs are so appreciative. They are your best friends, and when they die, fucking rips the soul right out of you. It's like losing a parent or a child or a best friend. It's like losing a best friend I've lost my dad, and it just hurts. It's so hard. So, how these cats, I appreciate them because, they're badass. They don't give a damn about anybody. They don't, especially not me, I bend over backwards to show this cat appreciation. He just don't care. Yeah, Mark, you know what? Home brewing is, you'll learn a lot of stuff about home brewing. And it's really cool. Like one of the coolest things I learned about it is that the bubbles in your beer, that comes from. Now you're gonna frickin' cry now. Yeah. You want to get the hell out? I think so. Frickin' cat came in for a snack. See what I'm talking about? So the bubbles in your beer. You know, that's you make your beer. Takes about two weeks in the bucket. You rack it off into another bucket. Well, you put it in for a week in one bucket. You rack it off into another bucket to get rid of all the sediment, because that gives you off flavors and stuff. So in your second bucket, when you're about to bottle it, you put more sugar in it, and then all the yeast in the beer, it poops out bubbles, and you get bubbly beer. It's a real science experiment, so it is a lot of fun, and you know, it cuts down the cost of your beer probably by about half. And the last thing is, you can make it as strong as you want. And if you like real tasty beer, well, I hate the taste of real strong bodied beer. Like, I really can't take it. So I make weak beer. Like, it's like, when I started, I was like, oh, I want to figure out the recipe for Budweiser. I'm just saying that because most of you are from the States. And the thing is a lager is a lager is a lager. And if you want to make Budweiser, it's just a weak beer. It's really as simple as it gets. It really is as simple as it gets. It is a real interesting little side hobby. It reduces the cost of your drinking, and you know, it kind of makes you a little bit more responsible in a way, because you take things seriously, and it takes time, effort, and patience, you know, and those are all the ingredients to a good hobby, like modeling. Practicing the art of screwing off. You're right. Yeah, cats know better. You know what, Scott, you're due for a dog. That's all I gotta say. You're due. You're due. Sorry to break it to you, brother. That's my Hulk Hogan. That's my Hulk Hogan little saying for tonight. Sorry to say it to you, brother, but you need a dog. Yeah, you keep those rats there. I got a few videos on my channel of this cat taking down a few rats. Okay, that was a big ninja. I called him a tangerine ninja. That's the name of the video, Tangerine Ninja. Yeah. Well, that's the beer that I drink historically, Mr. Gorman. Labatt's Blue. Labatt's Bleu. Which is a Pilsner. You know, they really don't water down the beer. It's just it's once you start home brewing beer, Jennifer, it is you know, just that plain can of beer that you get without adding any more ingredients to it. It is a really weak beer, and it tastes just like bar draft. And I was like a hippie / punk rocker when I was a teenager, and I drank buckets of that bar draft. I loved it. Oh, you do have a dog. Dang it. Tell me it's a little ankle biter. Because you need a big dog then. Oh, Gark, for crying out loud, next second, a Shepherd Great Dane mix. Gosh darn it, man. I'll get a little tipsy here. Holy shit, we've been going for near 3 hours. Well, you know what, my friends? It's about midnight. We're going to pound this beer down, or we're going to say goodnight. Because what can we accomplish after this? It's just all downhill. The only thing left for me to do is have at it and say goodnight. Say goodnight, Billy. I think it's time. You think it's time? So thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support the show, you know what to do. It's down there. I'm not saying thumbs down to you. It's down there. Thanks for watching. Pretty good show tonight. I had fun. And nice to meet you, Scott. And who else came in that was new? Mark. I think it's Scott's first time. It was Mark's second time. Thanks for... Excuse me. Have a good night. I'm gonna put... I don't have it up. We're just gonna say goodnight. Bye-bye.